Here's what I see when I walk into most organizations. Your team's performance is all over the map. Some days they're crushing it, other days you're wondering if they even showed up. And here's what's killing you the most. Like most managers, you've probably tried everything, right? New systems, new meetings, more meetings, performance reviews, bonuses, bribery, you've done it all. Heck, you've even brought in motivational speakers to get them jacked up, but nothing sticks. Your best people continue to burn out, and your average performers, they're staying exactly where they are. I've trained and worked with over 100 companies, and here's what I know. The problem isn't your team. It's not that you have the wrong people in your organization. It's that you're competing in the wrong game. Most leaders think they're in the business of managing people, but high-performing leaders know better. They know they're in the business of developing competitors. That's right. It's not about managing people. It's about developing competitive leaders. I'm going to show you the 4 shifts that separate leaders who get inconsistent results from leaders whose teams learn to compete every day. Shift number 1, you got to compete with yourself. Look, after working with more than 100 organizations, here's what I've learned. Team performance issues always start at the top. That's right. They start with you, the person you see in the mirror each and every day. If you're not competing with your previous best, your team will never compete with theirs. You can't lead others toward their potential unless you're chasing yours, because your behavior sets the standard and the benchmark for everyone else. It's not do as I say, it's follow my lead. I worked with a CEO one time whose team had plateaued after 2 years. He kept pushing harder. He was demanding more. He was believing that more pressure created bigger diamonds, right? But performance stayed flat. What we discovered is that over those 2 years, he hadn't grown himself. He had the same bad habits, he had the same approach, same results, and his health had gotten a little bit worse. The moment he started competing with himself, tracking how he communicated, tracking how he showed up, measuring his leadership decisions, heck, improving his life outside of work, his team started to grow. See, what they needed to see was a blueprint to follow, because no one wants to follow the leader that's all talk and little walk. So ask yourself, what's one leadership habit you could improve this week? What is your team watching, and how can you better compete with it? Whether you're running meetings, you're communicating feedback, you're communicating vision, heck, you're calling out the good, whatever the case may be, it could even be how you're showing up to work, right? You start taking care of your health. You start being mindful of what you put into your body or what you're listening to. You talk to your team about what you read this week. They're not going to follow your lead unless you set a standard that's worth following. You can't demand your team go somewhere that you're not willing to go first. Shift number 2, you got to connect the work to the purpose. Many leaders think that people perform for paychecks, right? That we only leave if there's more money, that we only stay if we're paid well, and that's not always the case. People perform for purpose. When your team can't see how their daily work every day connects to something bigger, you're going to get minimum effort every single time. One of the teams I worked with had an all hands retreat recently, and one of the team members was a little bit confused as they talked about the internal vision and where they were going with how it connected to the vision. She joined the team specifically because of the purpose, because she was so passionate about this purpose and the work that they were doing, and now she was a little bit confused, and you could see her start to withdraw. You could see her not wanting to be a part of the team and questioning that decision. But once the CEO was able to come back alongside her and connect the work that she does, the work that this internal vision allows them to do externally, you can see the light go on. You can see that motivation show back, because people want their work connected to purpose. It's not always about just the paycheck. When your team can't see how their daily work connects to something bigger, you'll get minimum effort every single time. Coached a manufacturing leader whose team was going through the motions, right? Productivity goes down, quality issues go up, culture kind of sucks. It's the classic signs of people who just have lost their why. Like they're just going through the motions. There's no bigger reason or purpose for doing the work they do. And so we spent one afternoon together working to see how each person's specific role impacted the end customer. One guy on the assembly line started to realize his attention to detail meant families got home safely. It's not even about the end product. It was about how everyone else would get home safely. Another person would see how their quality checks would impact the people who use the product at the end. You can see performance start to grow over the next month because people want to know, why does what I do matter? Why does what I do matter to the team? Why does what I do matter to the end user? Because nobody wants to do work that doesn't matter. So your move this week, connect the dots for your team. Show them exactly how their work matters to real people with real problems. People don't care how much work you give them. They care how much their work matters. See, if we can tie what we do to something bigger, we're more motivated to do that work to the best of our ability. And every team member really wants to know just 3 things. What's my role? Everybody knows this, right? What's my job? How do I not get fired? What am I responsible for? We go through books and books of this in onboarding, but the second one is the one less people know about, which is, why does my work matter? Why does my work matter? Why does what I do every day matter to the team, matter to the customer, matter to the purpose and the vision we're trying to go? People want to know they're a part of something, that what they do has impact, that if they left, there would be a hole. And then finally, the third part of this process that takes you up to the whole other level, the next step, is, how does what I do today help me get to where I want to go? Now, this is the question that scares most leaders, because some people don't actually want to be at your company long term. They want to go somewhere else. They want to do something else. They want to start their own thing. So a lot of leaders withhold this information, but here's the cool part. When you can connect someone's purpose in life, where they want to go, what they want to achieve, with the work they do every day, they are further fueled to do that work to the best of their ability. Some of your team members just want to make more money to take their kids to Disney World once a year. Some of your people want to go and ultimately learn things to start their own business. And the more you pour into them and help them connect the dots with how their work matters and how their work is connected to where they want to go, the better work they're going to do. Now, this third shift is one I love the most, because it's about creating accountability. A lot of people miss this. They think accountability means, ooh, I'm going to catch you doing wrong. I'm going to catch you messing up. I'm going to catch you making a mistake. I'm going to call you out. But leaders with the highest performing teams, they flip that mentality. They create accountability systems that people actually want to be a part of. See, accountability is the best sign of love you can show a teammate. It's not a detriment. It's actually a positive. Worked with a sales director once whose team dreaded those weekly meetings because it was just kind of a performance beatdown. Like, you go into it every week and you know it's going to suck. Same song, different week. Who missed their numbers? Who sucked? Who's off track? Why does anybody want to show up for that? So what we talked about is, how do we redesign the accountability system around 3 key questions? Number 1, what'd you do this week? Number 2, what did you learn this week? And number 3, how can we help you win bigger next week? See, we talked about the same metrics, but it's an entirely different game. Instead of going into this meeting every single week about where you messed up, where you're off track, how much you suck, we instead were having conversations with, what'd you do well? What'd you learn this week? Where'd you make a mistake but you learned something? And then how can we support you to do better next week? You want to talk about a meeting people actually get excited to, because they're leaving with a game plan of how they're going to get better this week, instead of starting their week and just getting their butts handed to them. You'd be amazed at how much people look forward to those check-ins when you're giving them goals in front of them with a completely different scoreboard than just, where'd you mess up? So what if this week you stopped managing just mistakes and started coaching progress? What if you made accountability feel like development instead of punishment? Because when you do that, high performers lean in. Now, the fourth shift that you got to make is connection. This is the multiplier that makes everything else work, because your team is going to work harder for someone who genuinely cares about them as people. It's not about just being a number on payroll. It's about being a person as part of a team. The more people are bought into that, the more they're going to work. See, we've seen that manager, right? The one who gets frustrated that the team was not performing, right? They've not hit the KPIs. They've not hit any numbers. They've not hit any metrics. He can tell you down to a T, this person's behind. Here's the email they owe me. Here's where they've missed the mark every single month. But if you ask him a simple question like, do you know their spouse's name? Are they a dog person? Are they a cat person? What do they like to do outside of work? It's like a deer in headlights. I don't need to know that. I just know they messed up at work. I just know where they're off track. They couldn't understand that people didn't care how much you knew where they messed up unless they knew that you actually care. I think we have an entire generation of people who are taught that we got to command respect, that you're automatically going to give it to me because where I am in the org chart. And the truth is, people have more opportunities than ever before to go anywhere, to work anywhere and do anything, that they don't necessarily have to stay for those toxic managers. People want to work where somewhere they're appreciated, where they get feedback, where someone actually cares who they are as a human. And that starts with connection. See, if you don't know your people, you're going to have a hard time knowing why your people are not hitting the mark. It all comes down to building relationships. If you want to get to someone's head, you got to go through there. So one of the easiest things that we do is connection over correction. We spend 15 minutes every week with people on your team, not talking about work, but talk to them as humans. Ask them questions. Get to know them. What's interesting is that years ago, Harvard did a study on why we communicate as humans. There's 2 reasons: to learn information and to increase likability, to get people to like us. And you want to know how you get people to like you more, to increase that likability, to build your influence, is to ask an open-ended question and a really good follow-up. See, the beauty of that follow-up question means I have to actively listen to the question I ask you, and then I have to probe for more. I'm acting interested in you over interesting. And when we act interested in someone, asking that open-ended question, following it up with another one, something in that other person's brain goes off that increases our likability. And when you're a manager, when you're a leader, when you're in that influential role within the organization, and you can take time getting to know people on your team by asking questions about their goals, about their life, about who they are, you're signaling to them that I appreciate you, that you're a valuable person, that you're part of this team, and it's not just about the number you are on payroll, it's about how you fit into helping us achieve our purpose. It's amazing what happens to people's efforts and energy at work when they know their leader cares about them. So if you want to make the shift this week, start having real conversations. Don't ask about what they're doing or what they're behind on in this project, but ask who they are. Ask what they care about. Ask about their goals. Remember what we just talked about. People want to know how what they do connects to where they want to go. This is your chance to find out where do they want to go, because people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. If you want to get to their heads, you've got to go through their heart. Here's what it comes down to. You're not managing a team, you're developing people. And ideally, you're developing healthy, competitive people. But in order to become a healthy, competitive person, that person needs three things. They need a leader who's competing with their own potential, that's setting the benchmark every day. They need clarity on why the game matters. Why does my work matter? They need support and accountability that's going to help them win. So when you create that type of environment, you don't have to motivate people because they motivate themselves. At the end of the day, everybody wants to compete. They have something they're striving to achieve in life. They often just need a leader who shows them the right game and then gives them the tools to win it. If you're ready to stop managing and start developing competitors, I want to show you something. I just put together a case study of how I helped a company go from 7 million to nearly 25 million in revenue using some of these exact principles, plus the 3 moves that made the biggest difference for them. The link's in the description below. Go check it out, get signed up. And if this has landed with you, drop a comment. Let me know. Let me know what sticks out. Let me know what shift hits you the hardest or the one you're gonna implement first. I read every single comment. Remember, high performance isn't an event, it's a culture. Now go compete to create yours.